Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. Today I want to recommend some books that I think my dog would like. A lot of my month has been revolving around my dog because she's been having kind of a difficult recovery from her spay, but she is kind of on the tail end of it now. She's doing really well, and that means I've just been spending a lot of time with her, thinking about her a lot, and I thought it would be funny to recommend some books to my dog. So, I got 5 books to recommend. The first one I'm recommending because Maisie is very, sweet, but she's also a little sassy. She's very sweet, she's very friendly, she loves a good snuggle, but she also, as she's gotten more confident, she's gotten a little bit sassy. She's gotten pretty clear about, what she wants, and she's really good at, giving us a piece of her mind. So I want to recommend to her A Room with a View by E.M. Forster. I think that Lucy Honeychurch is kind of like that. She's just, a sweet person. She likes people. She's really, polite and well-mannered, but as the book goes on, she grows more confident, and you see her really assert herself and start to push back and push for what she wants for herself, and I really like that about her, and I think that Maisie has got a few of those characteristics as well. Now, Maisie is also a mama dog. She had a couple of puppies, and she had fairly complicated birth, and from what I can tell, based on my discussion with her fosters, a fairly complicated relationship with her puppies. She was very upset kind of initially being separated from her puppies. Obviously, she's just pretty new mama, but she had weaned them and was starting to ignore them even when she was at the foster's house with them. So for that reason, I want to recommend her Sorrowland by River Solomon, which I think paints a really interesting and complicated portrait of motherhood. We're following a character who has a complicated and difficult birth right at the start of the book, and then has this, I would do anything for my children kind of relationship with her kids, but also is clearly, messy and complicated, and is heavily impacted by the things that are happening to the mother as she's going through this kind of bodily transformation. So really interesting book, and again, I just wanted to recommend it as a kind of complicated version of or vision of motherhood. Another thing about Maisie that we love about her is that she is a tiny criminal. She's mischievous, she's a little gremlin. She just yesterday pulled a bunch of stuff out of the garbage because it was overflowing a little bit, and some of the stuff at the top was paper towels that had been soaked in bacon grease as we were cleaning out a pan while we were cooking. And so she pulled all that out. She's also gotten into other things. One day she was really excited, she was playing, and she did this really funny thing where she grabbed, I can't remember what the first thing she grabbed was. It was a towel or something. Grabbed something she wasn't supposed to have. She had a toy with her. She kind of swung the toy around, threw it across the room, and then grabbed some random object off of this shelf over here. And I took it away from her, put it where she couldn't grab it again. And then she ran by me a minute later with one of my partner's shoes. So I had to take that away. And she's just very silly. She's very goofy. And so I wanted something to recommend that was kind of a whimsical book that involves crime. And so I want to recommend The Twyford Code by Janice Hallett. This is actually my least favorite of Janice Hallett's books, but it's still really fun. For Janice Hallett, I would say all of her books are great, and even the worst of her books are still a really damn good time. And The Twyford Code is very much that, but it's about a kind of lovable criminal who is navigating a difficult relationship with his son while also trying to solve the mystery of something that happened to one of his school teachers when he was a kid. And I think that kind of lovable rogue kind of character matches the way that we feel about Maisie. And so I think she would have a fun time with it, because it is just kind of whimsical and silly, but also gets into some more difficult topics and navigates them in a really interesting way. So highly recommend that. Even though it wasn't my favorite of Janice Hallett's books, I do highly recommend it. It's really fun. The fourth book I have to recommend to Maisie is one that I want to recommend based on her zoominess. She is a very fast dog, and she also will get in these little moods. I think all dogs kind of do this, but she'll get in these little moods where she'll just run into the room and give you this crazy-eyed look, and then run back out, or run in a circle, or do all these zoomy little movements around the house, and it's just really funny. So for her, I wanted to recommend Confession by Kanai Minato, because I think that one is super fast paced. It's really fun. It's got some dark stuff in it, but it's just a really engaging read. There's a lot going on. The chapters are really short. There's constant cliffhangers, and I think it kind of captures that feeling of zoominess of there's so much happening. You're just flipping the pages trying to find out what's going on, and it's shocking, and it's just a wild read. So I feel like it works for that. And then finally, the last book I want to recommend for Maisie is based on her love of the outdoors. She loves to go outside. She loves to roll in the grass. Just today, took her out for her kind of midday pee break, and she just laid in the floor, not in the floor, laid in the grass and rolled around. And as we were coming back, we were coming through our yard, and she did it like 4 times between the edge of our yard and the front door. She just kept like getting in the grass, rolling around for a minute, laying there, then getting up, walking a few paces, laying down and rolling in the grass. It was really funny. But for that reason, I want to recommend Small Game by Blair Braverman. This is also a fairly dark book, but it is very much a book about the outdoors and the wilderness that they're in, and survival, and like the techniques that they use to survive in the wilderness. And it's about like connection as well, so kind of circling back out around to that love of people that Maisie has. It's a book about like human connection, and so I think she'd really like this just because it's very like outdoorsy. So those are the books I want to recommend to my dog. And I know this is kind of a silly one. This is just meant as kind of a silly, goofy video, but I kind of had fun putting together the list, and I hope maybe you found something to pick up out of it. So yeah, that's all I got for you today. Let me know down in the comments below if you've read any of these, or what other books you'd recommend for these particular traits. And I really hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, I hope you consider giving it a like, maybe even subscribing to see what comes next. I'm currently posting on Tuesday and Saturday, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye.